in a new place.
We are.
We moved.
It's not decorated yet.
We're not decorated. We're reaching out to our community to say we miss you guys.
Yeah.
We're glad we get to hang out with you guys. And we know it's been a while, but don't worry because we're getting back at it. All of our stuff is in boxes right now, but we're setting up. So this is live from our living room, literally live. We're broadcasting out to our homies right now. But we will have everything set up soon.
Yeah.
We'll be back in an office. We'll have it all looking cool like it did with all my macho.
All of it.
All of my macho Pokemon cards and things on display. But right now, we've got to get to the real deal. There is a new Casual Geographic video that's come out, and it's called The Most Violent Animal on Earth. Wait a minute. It's not what you'd expect.
So I'm thinking of like honey badger, but that is what I would expect.
Yeah.
So what would I not expect? Baby hippo.
But you know the
babies don't hurt
grown
you.
Hippos are
but a baby hippo.
I have no clue. I don't even have a guess.
You don't have a guess.
No.
What is the most? A cow. It's a cow. Cows kill people way more than sharks do. Because there's like a statistic. People are like, oh, I'm so scared of sharks.
Clogged arteries from hamburgers?
No, like actual cow murders. I don't really know.
Is this gonna change my
like
perception of cows forever.
Maybe like you hit a cow with your car. I don't really know.
I don't know.
I just know that is like a thing. Cows kill more people than sharks do every year. Maybe like an angry cow.
That makes me scared. Like now I'm afraid of cheeseburgers.
Well, like you probably should be a little bit anyway.
Nah.
Didn't you? Yeah, no, you should be.
Anyway, Casual Geographic has this video. We're looking forward to it. Glad to be back in the saddle, hanging out with you guys, doing reactions and chilling. Yeah. So thank you guys for
seriously
waiting patiently. I'm sure many of you were just like, oh, I can't do it. Why are they not here? But we're back. Casual Geographic's back. Let's get this on. Let's check out this video. You guys ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Dolphin. Someone guessed dolphins. Magpies. Probably a bird. My ex-wife.
You ready?
Someone guessed bull. A
moose. Yeah.
Moose. Okay.
Here we go.
Watch it be a hamster.
2016, the University of Granada published a study that tried to answer the question of what mammal out of the thousands on Earth is the most homicidal. And the results, well, if it wasn't on paper, you wouldn't believe it. Researchers created a list of over 1,000 candidates, and by painstakingly studying over 4 million animal deaths total and recording how many of those life retirements were caused by the same species, they were able to mathematically determine what mammals are the most likely to hurt their own kind.
I forgot about monkeys.
And nobody could have predicted some of the answers.
Apes.
The Dama gazelle placed 16th on the homicide scale with an 11.85% chance of getting past tense by another Dama. Slightly above them at 14th were chinchillas with a probability of getting put down by a fellow chilla at a solid 12%. Brown bears just barely made the top 30 at less than 10%. But the bears of the sea, specifically the New Zealand sea lion, lapped them with an execution rate above 15. Now, you're probably wondering where humans ranked on this list. We gotta be up there. I mean, there's just no way. No. Humans didn't even crack the top 40, with less than 2% of human soul evictions caused by another human. In fact, according to the numbers, lemurs have far more bloodlust than humans
there are
and
consequences.
chimpanzees. But the most horny for homicide mammal in this study, the most murderous creature on Earth, was the meerkat. No, not a meerkat. The meerkat, with about 20% of those in God's recently deleted having been airdropped by another meerkat. But like with any true psychopath, to see where these tendencies come from, we gotta look at their family. Meerkats are a type of mongoose, an animal that essentially married crack and determination with gang mentality. We're gonna get back to them in a second, but just know, running a fade with mongoose is like getting attacked by a team of temperamental tube socks with teeth. But if you take a wider look, meerkats belong to a superfamily that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. I just know that they share it with fusas, which I talked about last video, and hyenas. Yeah, the hyenas' closest relatives are mongooses like the meerkat, and that made no sense to me until I heard what meerkats sound like. The mongoose is probably most famous for their eternal beef with snakes. Except the word beef is doing a lot of heavy lifting, since snake versus mongoose is more lopsided than an edge up from Stevie Wonder. A common misconception is that they're immune to snake venom. They're resistant, but there's a point where enough venom will murk even a mongoose. The mongoose has a mutation in their nicotinic acetylcholine receptor that makes it harder for neurotoxic snake venom to bind to it. That's how the same cobra that can flatline a person in 15 minutes can fully get put on a t-shirt by a warpath weasel. And meerkats will run fades with highly venomous snakes and turn them into a belt if they need to. These sand assault squirrels will even weaponize the power of friendship to flex on enemies like snakes through a process called mobbing. Speaking of which, don't worry, I didn't forget about this. But to explain why meerkats have such a high KD ratio against their own kind, you gotta understand how functionally dysfunctional their families are. The meerkat empire is built on a foundation of violence, extortion, spawn killing, cannibalism, but most importantly, a power-hungry mother, and it goes like this. Meerkats live in groups called mobs, and each mob is a conglomerate of several family units merged together as one. And sitting at the throne of each mob are the dominant couple, the alpha male, but more importantly, the alpha female. Because like with their bigger hyena cousins, meerkats are female dominated, and it's the biggest, meanest mama meerkat that calls the shots. Everyone has a job in meerkat society, and the alpha female is responsible for birthing new members to the mob, which is why she eats by far more than anyone else, so that she can make enough milk to feed her pups. The top male is primarily in charge of guarding his defenseless kids, and when he's not doing that, he's usually out hunting or spreading his scent to reinforce his territory. Then you have the scout team, the meerkats whose jobs are to forage for food wherever they can find it. And watching their backs are the sentinels, the security guards of the clan who keep an eye out for ops like eagles or jackals and will alert the foragers of danger with an alarm call. And back with the newborns are the babysitters who keep the new recruits from wandering and going MIA, and the second they hear that alarm, they either rush the kids back underground or prepare to defend them with their life. And of course, to teach the meerkats how to meerkat, you have meerkat mentors. That job description includes passing down all the tricks of the trade, like how a scorpion minus a stinger is just free protein. They'll even hand a mutilated scorpion to the pups for them to hone their hunting prowess on. By the way, did you know that when you remove a scorpion's stinger, you also remove its anus? So if they don't get discharged from reality right there, they get put in a coffin by severe constipation months later, the more you know. And last are the pups themselves, and their only job is to not die. And you're gonna see why just surviving meerkat society can be harder than Hefner. One of the most crucial rules of meerkat monarchy is that only the alpha female is allowed to have pups, and she can end up spawning 80% of all the infants in the mob. If one of her subordinates literally f***s around and she's the one to find out, the penalties can include the illicit offspring getting discontinued permanently, and even the offending female getting banished from the family by the queen. And with how meerkat mobs work, a lot of times this involves a mother evicting her own daughter. And with meerkats being used social, getting kicked out can be a death sentence with extra steps. So often the outcast will come crawling back, and sometimes she's allowed back in, but on one condition. The alpha female can and will force the insubordinate outlaw to breastfeed her children, basically using the threat of eviction to turn what's often her own daughter into a wet nurse. The price of promiscuity is why most baby meerkats born will celebrate their first birthday in the afterlife. Pups not birthed by the alpha are at such a risk that some insubordinate females will even catch a case eliminating the queen's kids if it means giving her own a better chance. But it's not that easy. The meerkat monarch is so attached to the throne that she's even willing to exile one of her daughters just for getting too big and therefore being too big of a threat. Just like hyenas, female meerkats produce double the testosterone as males, and they use this to bully the rest of the mob into submission. A banished female does have the options of either trying to bag a bachelor to start a mob of her own, or just straight up trying to join a new one. But there's always the chance she gets violently rejected for her efforts. To put it in perspective, imagine a grandmother that not only puts her daughters out on the street for getting pregnant, not only turns her own grandchildren into a case number, but only lets that daughter live under her roof if she agrees to nurse her mother's kids, which, yes, would mean breastfeeding their own younger siblings. It's twisted, but that's just how meerkats manner. And speaking of siblings, even your own roommate in the womb weight room can do you dirty. Meerkat pups will often square up and throw paws with each other, and even though these fights aren't to the death like with hyena cubs, there's a direct relationship between the availability of food and just how violent these fades can get. Early on, meerkat pups rely 100% on helpers bringing them food, and a pup will start something with their own sibling if they see that one getting too close to a helper. The human equivalent would be your mom coming home with McDonald's and you and your brother throwing fisticuffs with the winner getting to eat and the loser getting to watch. Actually, we might not be that different. And if that weren't enough, there's always the possibility of a rogue male kidnapping an unsupervised pup to try to add it to his own mob. To be fair, kidnapping's rare, but it usually ends with one less meerkat to count. Now, everything I just mentioned involves politics within the mob. Inter-mob conflicts happen too, and it's usually when a foraging party of sand-seasoned assassins trespasses into rival territory. And like with every other aspect of this murder mongoose's life, this too can lead to violence. The meerkat mafia will try to intimidate the opposition with a war dance. Now usually, that's all this is, just a bunch of aggressive posturing and a healthy helping of hold me back. But 10% of the time, words can't do what war can, and it gets physical enough to remove multiple meerkats from the census.
Damn.
And according to studies done in the Kalahari, almost half of mob-on-mob brutality is initiated by the alpha male. So long story short, males are usually the ones starting stuff with other mobs, while females prefer to keep their beef inside the family. All that adds up to 1 in every 5 meerkat obituaries being authored by another meerkat. Meanwhile, the much more infamous hyena has a homicidal hit rate of about 8%. It's to the point where you almost wonder why meerkats don't just choose to live on their own, since the biggest threat to their way of life is often another meerkat. The answer is eusociality. SparkNote's version, it's a system where there's one female spawning babies and everybody else works together to bring up the children while also splitting the labor of the colony. Bees and ants are probably the most famous eusocial insects, and so far we can only name 2 eusocial mammals, those being the raisin of rodents, the naked mole rat, and mongooses like, yeah. Meerkats live in the desolate, sun-baked deserts of the Kalahari, where grocery shopping is a treasure hunt and death can get delivered to you faster than an Amazon package. The mob system, although not perfect, keeps members fed and protected, especially the pups who almost always have someone watching over them. Their alarm system is so advanced that the sentinels have different calls for different situations with different levels of urgency. For example, the warning call for an approaching fox or jackal is not the same for that of a bird of prey. And like I said, the power of friendship is their best weapon against threats like snakes. In fact, the only snakes they really have to worry about are the ones related to them. So, when it comes to meerkat family, you can't live with them, but you don't got a chance in hell without them. I've called a lot of animals homicidal, but no mammal is more murderous and more of a legitimate danger to themselves than a baby-faced foot-tall Terminator and the comic relief of Lion King. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Timon and Pumbaa!
How cute.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I would have never expected meerkats. And I also didn't know that it was just going to be towards their own. Like, I thought it was, like, the most violent, like, ever.
Like they just threw down on everything.
People and other animals. And, yeah.
And they're so cute. I have always thought, every time I saw a meerkat, I was like, dude, it would be so sick to have one of those as a pet.
I'm getting meerkats and prairie dogs mixed up. They're similar, but they're not the same. Yeah.
Meerkats are bigger.
And, like, we don't have meerkats in the United States.
I think meerkats are bigger.
Yeah, meerkats are bigger. Prairie dogs are, like, little.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about, like, why are they screaming? It's like, those are prairie dogs. Because there are people on TikTok who have prairie dog pets. Yeah.
And they go,
I think meerkat would be totally...
Hey!
They do these big stretches in the morning. It's so cute. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of, like, what it's like to own one or if it's okay. I still can think it's cute, though, you know.
Yeah, like with many of the Casual
Exotic.
Geographic videos, I decide to forget some of the information just to make nature seem a little bit cooler.
No, it's terrible.
And
it's
more
terrible.
beautiful. This was not one of the wholesome ones.
No. They used to never be wholesome. They used to just be...
Brutal.
Yeah, terrifying.
I just wonder, like, when it comes to the whole groveling to get back with the mob, like...
What are you going to do?
What's the success rate?
Oh, okay.
How often does it work that one of the females is like, I'm trying to get some dick, and then they get kicked out, and then they crawl back and they're let back in? Like, how often do they actually get back in?
I think it's interesting how they have a system. Like, there's a lot of animals that do have, you know, an intricate system of how things
a hierarchy.
Work. Hierarchy of like I know monkeys, you know, and like dogs.
Some monkeys.
Monkeys, apes. But like meerkats? I would have never guessed that. And like, there are people. There are meerkats that watch out. There are meerkats that, you know, like just babysit.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Mentors.
That's cute.
Meerkat mentors.
So there's the good, there's the
wild.
bad. I definitely found out some new shit and was not expecting. He was right. I was not expecting
Meerkat.
fucking
No.
Timon to be the one. You know, fuck Timon.
Dr. Dell said they live in Africa, but they are in zoos here. That's what I thought.
But anyway, great video by Casual Geographic. Great to be back with you guys doing reactions. Sorry for the the layout. This is the corner of our living room we could fit all this stuff into just to do this. But thank you guys for hanging out. We really appreciate your support.
Yes.
You know that we love you and we're glad to see you. And we'll be seeing you in the next video.
See you guys. Bye.